Hello, my name is Pagen. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. This video today is going to be my February wrap-up video. So for those that don't know or need a quick reminder, I did start doing this challenge over on Instagram, hence why the first 3 videos on my channel are filmed vertically instead of horizontally. But obviously with Instagram you can't do more than 50 minutes, and you know what, I wanted to do YouTube videos. I did do YouTube videos a few years ago. They are removed from my channel now. I used to really enjoy it. I really wanted to move over to YouTube to do this challenge. So hopefully the quality of the video, the sound, everything will be better than the first 3 videos on my channel. Obviously I will be aiming to keep improving as obviously we go. So like I say, a quick recap. In the start of the year, in January, I decided to set myself a reading challenge. So I decided I wanted to aim to read 40 books in 2025. Now that is a challenge for me. Last year I read 2. Like that's it, just 2 from start to finish. Did used to be a really big reader, like as a teenager, maybe not young teenager, maybe late teenager, early 20s. I'm 27 now. But then I fell pregnant, had my daughter, and yeah, I just kind of forgot about it, if I'm being honest with you. Like anyone who's a mum, especially a first time mum, you know it's a massive adjustment. So I just kind of stopped reading, and then last year I think my aim was 12, so I wanted to do 1 a month. But I didn't do that, I literally read 2. I wanted to get back into reading because first off, I needed a hobby. My daughter, I don't know if you can see in just the corner here, she's literally just fallen asleep on the sofa. She has just been watching the iPad, so I was like, great, I'll film my video now. But yeah, she's 2.5 now, and I literally have got no hobbies. So I decided I wanted to start having hobbies again, so reading. So I started reading. I thought it's really, really good as well to calm the overstimulated, chaotic mum brain, and so far it's actually doing absolute wonders for that. I am reading consistently, near enough every single day, and yeah, that's why I have started reading. In my first video that you can find on my channel, I decided on 40 books, so that works out at about 3.3 a month. So basically, just to make it easier for me, I am just choosing 4 books a month to read. So what to expect with this: 2 videos a month for my reading 40 books in 2025 challenge. So one will be a wrap-up video like this, talking about what I've read, what I didn't read, kind of what I thought of it, and a rating and a little brief review. And then another video will be picking my next month's reads from my TBR jar. So again, I do already have 2 of those videos posted on my channel that you can go and watch after this video if you want, just to kind of catch up. Like I say, the audio and sound is not going to be as good as hopefully this one is going to be. But yeah, they are there anyway. I just wanted to post them, you know, just so people can just kind of watch it, like binge it all in one place if they want to, obviously. So in January I read 3 books. You can find my January recap video already on my channel. This month obviously I had 4 books to read. As you can see, I only have 3. So you can notice that the books have gotten a little bit taller. I made a little mistake. I'll explain, it'll make sense. I need to read 3.3 books a month to stay on track to hit my 40 books read in 2025. But if I don't get all 4 and I just do 3.3, great, we're on track. In January, just so you're aware, I read 3.3, so for January I was on track. Well, it's more like 3.5, but let's just say, yeah, it was at least 3.3, so I was on track. February, I'm a little bit behind. It doesn't look like it, but I will explain. I'm a little bit behind. So we're just going to talk about them anyway, and I'll let you know kind of what I thought about them, if I liked it, if I didn't like it. Yeah, we'll just kind of go from there. So the first book that I read in February was Nameless by Jessie Keane. I love this book. Like, I loved it so much. It is probably, to date, the longest book I've read. How many is it? 558 pages. It's the longest book I've ever read. It took me 10 days to read it. I'm not really a massive, I don't think I'm a fast reader. I don't think I'm really slow, but I don't think I'm really fast either. I read about 45 pages an hour. Now, I think that, given the YouTubers who I watch that also do booktube videos, I think I'm really, really slow. But then, like, compared to, like, my husband, I'd say I'm really fast. So, who knows? But yeah, I give this a 4 stars on Goodreads, but it probably is more like a 4.5 for me. You just can't obviously do 0.5s on Goodreads. I loved it so much. So basically, this is like a crime gang related book. So it's the Ruby Dark series. So Ruby Dark is the main character, her. This book is kind of over like a long stretch of time. I think it has like flashbacks to like 1920s, and then it goes from like 1940s. Yeah, so it starts in the 1940s, but then you do have flashbacks to the 1920s, and then it's kind of from the 1940s, like 1970s, I think. 1974 is the last year that I can see it mentions. So yeah, it goes over like a 30-year period, and it's all about Ruby Dark. And basically, I won't give any spoilers away, but she meets a guy, she sleeps with him, she gets pregnant, she has twins, and they are taken away from her. Literally just about her like trying to get her children back and just trying to kind of cope what goes on. Now this was like 19 pages in, and it was like already, I think it was like 19 pages in. I remember I was literally in the bath when I started reading it. I got to like page 19 and I was like, said to my husband, I was like, Callum, like this has just happened, like we're literally in like the first few pages, like I was like, oh my god, so much happened, like so much happened. But this is probably my favourite book I've ever read to date. I'm very into like crime stuff, so this does have like a lot of like, how do I explain it, you know, like Ronnie and Reggie Cray, weren't they the brothers that were like, was it London, and they were like head of like a crime family? It's kind of like that. It's 2 brothers that run like this crime family, and Ruby, the main character, isn't really involved in the crime side. She basically has like a really shitty life. There's so much I could say, but I don't want to give anything away. Like, her dad is just not a nice man, and her brothers aren't that nice to her either. And yeah, it's just basically from her, like, in her late teens to be, like, a full adult. Yeah, she obviously wants to get her children back. And it's just, it was just such a good read. Like, such a good read. There was so much that happened in this. There were so many times when I was like, what? Like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I literally could not believe it. Like, when her kids get taken away, like, I was just, not about them getting taken away, obviously I expected that, but then just what happens like after, I was like, oh my god. And then there's just so many things that happen that you just don't expect. Like, I did not think this was predictable at all. Now maybe I'm just naive, and obviously I haven't really been reading much like in the past few years, so maybe I'm just naive, but I thought this was not predictable. I thought this was very, I was like constantly on the edge of my seat. So much happened. It was not a boring read at all. I was constantly reading out bits to my husband. I was like, oh my god, this has just happened. Oh my god, this has just happened. Yeah, fully enjoyed this. Highly recommend it. This is the first book in the Ruby Dark series, like I said, I think before. There's 4 out now, so I can't remember what's the second one. Lawless, and then there's The Edge, and then, which I thought was really fitting because my last name is Edge. And the last one is Gangland. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's going to be Gangland because it's the way it is on the book cover, if I remember correctly. It's like gang, then land. So it'll be Gangland or Gangland. I don't know, and you're probably literally laughing at me now, but now I feel like I need to go and double check. But yeah, that's that one. That's literally all just come out like last month, I think it is. So yeah, I haven't read any of the other books in this series yet, but I really want to. I have been charity shop hunting for it. So the next one I read in January was Exotica by Eden Bradley. I did not like this book. I did not like this book one bit. I gave it a 1 star, and to be honest, I felt like a 0 star. I mean, someone might really like this, but I really didn't. This book is basically 2 stories in one, and the only thing that kind of correlates them together is the not the location, but like the the business, and then the characters kind of. So the main character in the second one was a side character in the first one. But if I'm being honest with you, I'm just reading the back so I don't give anything massively away. Yeah, it doesn't really give much away, to be honest. And I don't really know what I expect with this one. I expect this to be like a spicy sex book, but I assume there's also to be a bit of plot. The plot was literally just the sex scenes. It was just sex. Like, it wasn't exciting. I mean, I think the first 2 chapters I enjoyed. The first chapter I was like, ooh, when we get to the sex scenes, like, you know, I've never read a book that's apparently this, like, spicy. So I was like, oh, let's get into it. And then the second one, or the third chapter, whenever it was, when, like, the sex scenes started, I was like, ooh. But then that was literally it for the whole book. It's like, the first chapter, it's massive detail to, like, explain the location and like what the characters look like, and I feel like they over explain that I actually was getting a little bit confused, and I was like, I don't know what that is, I don't know what that is. So the scene wasn't really set for me. There was a lot of information, but in my head it was like blank. And then the rest of the book was literally just sex. And what really annoyed me with this book as well was you know when like in books they overuse a word and it's like constantly like every sentence, and it gets to the point where it's just literally aggravating you every time it says it. It was doing that, but then also to make it worse, the words that she was using for these things were even good words. So obviously this is a sex book, so you expect it to be spicy. It's going to have in-depth detail about people's bodies and things like that, and like sex scenes, which it is quite graphic to a point. But she constantly refers to things as being flesh and swollen. So everything's swollen. Obviously I really can't say anything because I'll get like shadow banned on YouTube, but she describes everything as being swollen, and then like everything's like referred to as the flesh. So like he bites on her flesh, she licks his flesh, and I'm like, ugh. Flesh is a word you use for like a zombie film. Like it's related to zombies, like that's what I think. You say the word flesh and I just think zombies, not sex. And then swollen, I just don't think swollen's a nice word. And then what really annoyed me in the last few chapters, she had the audacity. So she's been using them like, this is swollen and then this is flesh. In the end of the book, she had the audacity to bring them together. So it was, I can't remember if it was referred to him or her, but it was like his swollen flesh, and I was just like, no, it's off-putting. It's not sexy. I really did not like this, and I will never read anything from her again, I think, because then at the end of this book, it does have like the first, I think, 3 chapters for her next book, yeah, The Beauty of Surrender, and the writing was the exact same. It was the exact same. Like, if I just ignored the people's names, to be honest, I felt the same way in the 2 books that are in here. If you just ignore the people's names and the descriptions you get of what they look like, I would literally just thought this was just the same people. Her writing style was literally just very repetitive. And then I did read the last bit, like I say, what's it called, the Beauty of Surrender, to see maybe it was just this one that was a bad one, and maybe her books are actually gonna be okay. But the first 3 chapters on that other one was literally just like the same as this. It was just different characters. So yeah, no, not interested. So yeah, really did not like this one. 1 star. I hate it. Next one I read was Reclaiming You by Abby Rawlinson. Now this was actually one of my books to read in January. So when I said earlier I read 3.3, or let's say 3.5, the half was this. So this is obviously like a self-development book. So I like to have like a fiction, non-fiction on the go at the same time. But this was making me cry a lot, so I didn't really want to read it. Not in a bad way, like I'll explain in a second. I really did enjoy this book. But yeah, I ended up reading this in February, so I finished this in February. I actually ended up starting it from the beginning completely again, because I feel like in January, I like struggled a little bit with it. It was bringing up a lot of things for me. So I actually did reread it in February. And I didn't actually cry that time. This book, it's all about your nervous system, the fight or flight, the calm and social state, and the shutdown. It literally talks to you about that and like how to get your body out of shutdown and fight or flight. It has like exercises in between the chapters and things like that. And I just really enjoyed this book. So I gave this book a 4 stars, and I would massively recommend it to anyone who is feeling burnt out, feeling stressed, feeling overstimulated, just feeling anxious, overwhelmed, sad, like any kind of thing. And even if you're not, maybe read it just because it teaches you things, like stay in a calm and social state, and to like be more resilient with your nervous system and things like that. So yeah, I haven't really got like much to say about it, but I did enjoy it, and I would massively recommend it as like a self-development book to read. 4 stars, enjoyed it. Now they're the ones that I read this month. I actually can't remember if I mentioned that earlier in the video, but yeah, I read 3 in February, but technically I'd already read half of it, so I basically only really read 2.5. Like I said, I did reread this one for beginners, so I did read 3, but you know what I mean. So technically that has left me now on the end of February, so I'm trying to ignore what I've read in March so far. I did 3 in January and now 3 in February, so that puts me on 6 for the year. Now technically to be on track I needed to be on 6.6 by the end of February, which obviously I wasn't. I was on just around 6, so it put me a slightly behind. But then I do have Pick My March Reads video out already on my channel. You can go and watch that if you want. And I was a bit more strategic with the books that I picked. In February I picked like pretty big books, so like obviously these 2, Nameless, the first one that I talked about, was a big one. So I didn't think it through with it only being a 28-day month. So in March I tried to pick a few thinner reads that I could kind of smash out to try and catch up. So as you can see, we have 2 more. So these 2 are 2 that I should have read in February that I hadn't read yet. But yeah, I do obviously now need to get these read in March, hopefully, to, you know, not get too far behind. But yeah, so I still have to read Time Traveller's Wife by Audrey, I'm not even going to attempt saying her last name. And then A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness too. So yeah, aiming to get those done in March. What I will do is I will insert my annual books read tracker here, so you can kind of see how many I've read and what I've read and in the order I've read them. Also, if you are interested in getting this template, I did actually create this template myself and I do have it on my stand store, so if you are interested in that, you can go to the description box below and the stand store link will be there where you can find my annual books read template down there. I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you have a great day, and please like and subscribe and comment below. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I have talked about. Let me know what you thought of them too. It would be great to get to chat to some other book lovers. Thank you for watching.